It's update season right now, which means, I guess, another day, another round of entire Overworld overhauls. Let's do this. So the very first thing that I noticed inside of this new preview is, well, the words at the top of the screen. Totally. There was never 3 lines before. Like, it was always 2 lines. Totally, right? Absolutely. Maybe. Somebody help. Now, in the last preview, one of the most tragic changes was made of all time. When you pause the game wouldn't pause, and oh my god, read it and weep, the words, they're back. So this is an interesting change that actually happened in between the drop of last week's preview and, like, right now. Like, it wasn't only in this preview, but check this out. The villagers are clearly alive and moving, and I paused the game, and sure enough, that villager, those ones behind the boxes right there, well, they're all frozen. I don't know how the devs have the magical power to do this, but sometime after the last preview dropped, but before this one released, they went ahead and updated the game and added the pause screen back to the preview. We kind of theorized on it in this video right here that it was maybe perhaps just a simple bug, and sure enough, yeah, it's great to see. This is such a nice change, and one of the biggest changes coming in the 1.21.60 update that's probably coming soon. So surprise, surprise, this week's preview, it's a little bit larger than I thought, but at the same time, aside from some brand new fancy additions to editor mode and a couple of other gigantic changes, it's not the biggest thing in the world. Additionally, interestingly, following this week's giant Minecraft to Java technical snapshot, tragically, the leaf litter and the wildflowers, these 2 beautiful new ground coverings, they're still entirely non-existent on Minecraft Bedrock Edition. This all lends to my theory that Minecraft Bedrock 1.21.60 is an update that's wrapping up soon and will probably be releasing. Like, no update merger with the next update and whatever. Mixing in with my theory, if this update is just about done, leaf litter, which is a little bit more advanced, at least more advanced than, say, a brand new mob variant and a new animation that falls from the leaf block, well, yeah, perhaps they're not adding the leaf litter or the wildflowers because they're a little bit more experimental, could affect world generation slightly more than some of the other things, so they're holding off on them. Perhaps they're holding off on those features and the rest of this new spring update for Minecraft 1.21.70. Speaking of numbers, they're a big deal, but they're not at the same time. 1.21.60.27. So I haven't really been paying too much attention to the numbering for this update cycle, but we jumped some numbers. Like, usually we would go 1.21.60.20, 21, and so on and so on. But for this new update, we've now skipped to 0.20 and to 0.26. Actually, wait, also 0.22 as well. I knew something else was missing. What does it mean, really? I have no clue, but at the least, it's provocative. Alright, so for this next little change here, what we're gonna do is go ahead and create ourselves a brand new world. Inside of this brand new world, we'll make it inside of the preview and the normal version. We'll use seed 1, so it's identical. Now, we already know about the massive biome overhaul update that will be happening in Minecraft 1.21.60. We spent basically the entirety of this video right here, like 17 minutes or something crazy, talking about all of the changes and comparing them side by side. Well, in this update, we're back at it again. So we'll kick our journey off today with the mangrove swamp biome, one of the biomes that has received the most amount of changes inside of this preview. Right now, we're taking a look at the mangrove swamp biome in Minecraft 1.21.50, the Garden Awakens drop. This is how it is currently. Moving around into the mangrove swamp biome right here, we can see a whole lot of dense trees jumping into the water. We can see, well, no water gradient color screen change thing on the screen. And then if I were to slide under the ground and fly around to maybe looking for a fossil or two, well, I would find 0 fossils underneath the mangrove swamp biome and the swamp biomes. The interesting thing about all of this is the fact that that's not exactly meant to be like that. I'm pretty sure, like I believe there was meant to be more fossils inside of the swamp. Next up, inside of the preview, and to be honest, we don't really need like a side-by-side identical seed for this one because, well, many of these changes here, unlike the previous round of biome changes, well, they're not like a side-by-side difference, at least with the mangrove swamp. First things first, the water. Check this out. Immediately, it's noticeable. The foggy haze inside of the water in the mangrove swamp biome. I mean, jumping down into the water, the effect again. Oh, you can see it's so dense, especially compared to how it just was a second ago. You could hardly see anything. A bit of a just trust me bro moment. I'm not going to go ahead and dig the swamp out until I find a fossil, but also fossils are now going to generate a little bit more frequently like they do on Java underneath the swamp and the mangrove swamp. And then we get to something that is a little bit more internal, if you will. It's called the downfall value. This is a set numerical value that every single biome in Minecraft will have. This specific value relates to world generation and, in this case, downfall, or rain. And for whatever reason, on Bedrock Edition, the downfall value of the mangrove swamp and the classic swamp are different. Or, well, they were different up until this point in time. So ever since 1.19.10, I think that's basically when the mangrove swamp was added, well, the downfall value, or in other words, the rainfall, didn't match from biome to biome. Inside of this preview, the small inconsistency when it comes to our two swamp biomes has been smoothed over. Next up, back inside of Minecraft 1.21.50, moving around over here by the ocean. I mean, take a look at it. It's an ocean. Giving ourselves a little bit of night vision so we can see slightly more clearly here. Well, under the water here, we've got plenty of seagrass, both tall and short. Jumping back over into the preview at essentially the same location, moving over to the water. Wowee, take a look at the water now. As you can see here, seagrass, I mean, there's plenty of it, but also kelp. Oh my gosh, the difference. It's night and day. Like back inside of a main version of the game right here, this giant area that was filled with kelp inside of the preview, it has no kelp at all. Plenty of seagrass, which is nice, but not a single instance of kelp. Instead, if we want kelp, at least how it is right now, I mean, to call it rare, I would be a fool, but to call it insanely overcommon, I mean, well, yes, but, well, no. And a 2-pack of changes that will affect just about every single ocean biome in the entire game. Everywhere where the majority block is the water block, there will be more kelp and more seagrass now. Moving around here through the ocean, I mean, with night vision, it stands out so sorely that we need, like, kelp variants or more plants or something. Hint, hint, this update would be perfect. But wow, all over the place, we can see a densely populated kelp forest, essentially. The seagrass all over the floor here, too, it's much more frequent. Parity fanatics, I mean, you would know better than me, but this has to be one of the final major updates that the devs have to make to biome parity in world generation. Of course, obviously, not talking about structure parity, that's something else. Ooh-wee, now the jungle biome. The jungle biome, its difference is night and day. Inside of this new update, you head over to the jungle, and I mean, essentially, you're going to be inside of an entirely brand new biome. The jungle, how it stands right now on Bedrock Edition, I mean, it's not even really a jungle. Sure, yes, there are so many trees, but at the same time, I mean, not really. It's so navigable, and at least compared to the Java jungle, this isn't dense at all. Also, attention to the detail here. As we start to move around through the jungle, from time to time, we'll find what is called inside of the game a jungle bush. The jungle bush, I mean, it's a small cluster of leaves, a jungle log in the middle, and then, at least right now, jungle leaves all over the outside of this thing, creating a proper small jungle tree, essentially. Moving around here with these warm green tones on the leaves, I mean, comparatively, it would almost look like the oak leaf is the same as the jungle leaf. But wait a second, why am I talking about oak leaves? Wow, the jungle, modern era, and this is the same seed, one and the same exact jungle. This thing is actually a jungle now, it's beautiful. Now moving around down here on the ground, before too long at all, a jungle bush, but, notice the detail? It's different. Coordinately, I don't need to find the same jungle bush here to be able to tell you what's going on. The jungle log, it's still the same trunk of this jungle bush, if you will, but the jungle leaves, they have since been removed. You see, on Minecraft and Java, these jungle bushes that generate all over the ground, well, they actually use an interesting combination of blocks here. They use jungle logs as the stem and oak leaf. It's not like a jungle on jungle pairing thing. When you move around inside of the jungle now, these jungle bushes that you'll be able to find all over the ground, well, take the log out and you'll actually be able to get a little bit of oak saplings from them. Not jungle anymore. I've just got to say, I am so excited for the 1.21.60 update because just take a look at how much more beautiful the overworld looks. Like the jungle specifically actually being full of plants and life like it is on Java. I just love it so much. Another thing related to world generation and terrain inside of this preview, discontinuity between chunks generated in 1.20.30 and 1.20.15. So this one isn't really so much about those specific two random versions. Instead, it's about just basically upgrading older chunks from those old versions to any new version. For example, right here, we can see the problem exactly. This area right there where there's a strange chunk border. Some of these chunks are old, some of them are newer, and yeah, I mean, it's just like a strange chunk border. That shouldn't be happening. Instead, the chunks should be smooth. Now, you'll have to pardon me, because of how Bedrock Edition works, I don't really have an old world that I could, like, update to show you that it actually works now, so just trust me, chunk borders will be a little bit smoother now when you update an old world to a new version. Last but not least, or to be honest, maybe last and least, for our world changes today, wheat. Let's say for the scenario, I'm in my farmer bag. I'm growing tons and tons of wheat all over the ground. Then I have a map and I take a look at it. Well, the wheat on the map right there, you see that yellow square? Wheat is now yellow on a map. I don't know what it was before, I think green, but why was it ever green? This is such a small change, but wow, I love it. I just love looking at maps. In my worlds, whenever I make a map wall, I always just love this vibe of standing and staring at things and all of the different colors. Well, we love to see a new color. The maps will look even better in this new update. Now for today's preview, those are a lot of the gigantic things. We've touched on them. Next up, squid. The squid have an interesting fix here that involves their pathfinding. Let's say I was ruthless and I hit a squid. Well, the squid will be able to properly rotate now, which will help it get away. I love how the ink actually pops out of the squid on Bedrock Edition. This is so different than Java. I wish that they would fix that one day, because just, like, wow, has it always been like that on Bedrock, by the way? It looks so good. In the world of technical updates, the compostable item component is out of experimental. Alongside that one, the related scripting APIs are out of beta to the release version as well. I believe this means that add-ons will now be able to add custom items that are indeed compostable inside of the vanilla composter. Even more changes, perhaps the final ones to Minecraft's Overworld. Is this next update finished? Well, I guess we'll have to wait till next week to see. In order to continue all of these fire new Minecraft updates that are coming to us week after week this year, make sure you subscribe and tap like for more. It's been me, Waddles. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Thank you very much.